There's a wealth of advice online of I don't know, especially it depends on what you're looking for, I guess. So I'm hitting on the more of the kind of just getting yourself to a better place kind of thing. If you're divergent, the interesting thing is, especially with if you have generally you can have stronger emotions, stronger emotional range, and typically, generally, especially younger in life, a shitload more rejection, more harsh rejection, being ostracization, being ostracized, a lot of really just kind of more or less like more of a humiliation kind of aspect to it. Just really, a lot of us were picked on and just misunderstood. So that's one of those things you get to you get older and you can make a lot of sense of things mentally, intellectually, and think things are ironed out. But basically, that all this stuff that happened when you're younger, it stays in your system until you deal with it. I know that for things like well, for instance, singing. Like I was very I was actually terrified of singing in front of people. But that one, easy enough. Go to karaoke. First time, it kind of went okay. But you get to back up again. You realize I didn't die. Okay, well, sit through the thing, and it gets to a point where that gets easier. With people, it's a bit more of a challenge, especially if you realize that you don't pull what others do from a lot of social situations, and a lot of times, what works for others can be a drain. It's one of those where what's good for the gander is not necessarily good for the goose. So it's a kind of a tougher thing. You kind of have to. Well, I've had to figure out a lot more on my own. And really, I'm really starting to not buy into so much just about. Again, you kind of have to see through what's presented as problems online with this stuff too. And there's difficulty. I think if there's no reward in what you're going for, then you don't really want to do that. And as far as any kind of, I know I've got to the point as far as thinking about any kind of dating thing is not even bothering with that part of it. You're a unicorn basically that needs another unicorn in that part of it. Practicing for what is probably not going to work out to anything is pretty much using people. So it goes back to just being yourself, and when things line up to where they do, they do. Just keep on going. The right stuff comes in, and that's about it. But really, I've learned to look at a lot of stuff online and just not. To realize, what, I don't have to see it that way. And the best stuff and the most important things happen out in living life and not just poring over thinking you're really getting somewhere from getting more info and more insight. So that's about it. Later, y'all.